Law 3. Conceal your intentions. In Renaissance Italy, Cesare Borgia was both feared and admired. He gained power not only through force, but through deception. His enemies and allies alike thought they understood his next move, yet he always had a hidden plan. When Cesare pretended to negotiate peace with the rebellious city of Senigallia, its leaders welcomed him, believing his intentions were genuine. What they did not know was that he had already prepared a trap. Once inside the city, he struck with precision, capturing his rivals and eliminating them in a single stroke. By disguising his true aims, he conquered without resistance. The lesson is clear. If others can predict your next step, they will move to stop you. But if you hide your purpose, your opponents cannot form a defense. Deception forces them to waste energy chasing shadows, while you move unseen. The most dangerous weapon is not a sword or an army, it is secrecy. Keep your plans shrouded. Let people think they understand you while you are already 5 moves ahead. Your silence will confuse them, your unpredictability will frighten them, and your strike will arrive when they least expect it. The less they know, the less they can stop you. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. Napoleon Bonaparte understood that power dies in the shadows. From a young general to Emperor of France, he mastered the art of staying in the spotlight. His victories were paraded across Europe, his image placed on coins, statues, and paintings. Even when defeated and exiled to Elba, his name alone was enough to ignite fear in monarchs and hope in the people. Napoleon's power was not only military, it was symbolic. He was everywhere, inescapable, unforgettable. History rewards those who command attention. If you fade into obscurity, you become irrelevant, no matter your talent or intelligence. Visibility creates influence, and influence breeds power. This is why ambitious rulers, artists, and even modern politicians manufacture spectacle. A scandal, a bold move, or even outrageous behavior, it all keeps eyes fixed on you. Attention is oxygen. Without it, your power suffocates. But with it, you can shape perception, dominate the conversation, and rise above your rivals. Do not compete quietly. Make yourself unavoidable. Obscurity is death. Force the world to notice you. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Thomas Edison is remembered as one of the greatest inventors in history. The electric light bulb, the phonograph, the motion picture camera, all tied to his name. Yet behind the curtain, teams of assistants and engineers worked tirelessly in his laboratories. Many of these men made breakthroughs that changed the world. But Edison understood a brutal truth. History does not remember the worker. It remembers the master who takes the credit. He ensured that his name, not theirs, was etched into the public consciousness. To this day, Edison stands tall as the genius, while his collaborators remain shadows. The principle is ruthless but effective. Effort alone is meaningless if credit is lost. By taking ownership of results, you position yourself as indispensable. The public loves simple stories. One man, one mind, one vision. Let others sweat in the background. You must step forward as the architect. It may feel immoral, but power is built on perception, not fairness. Seize the recognition, and you control the narrative. Law 12. Use selective honesty to disarm your victim. In ancient China, the brilliant strategist Han Xin once found himself facing a powerful rival. Instead of showing defiance, Han Xin performed an act of complete submission. He dropped to his knees and crawled between his enemy's legs, humiliating himself in front of everyone. His rival laughed, dismissing him as weak and cowardly, but Han Xin was playing a deeper game. By appearing harmless, he lured his opponent into lowering his guard. Later, when the time was right, Han Xin struck back with full force, destroying the man who once mocked him. His earlier humiliation was not a defeat, it was bait. Selective honesty works the same way. One small act of vulnerability, a carefully chosen concession, can disarm suspicion and win trust. People relax when they believe you're honest, when they think they have the upper hand. In that moment of relaxation, they become open to manipulation. The power lies in choosing when to be truthful and when to hold back. A single sincere gesture can cover 100 hidden schemes. Use honesty not as a virtue, but as a weapon. One well-timed truth hides 100 lies. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. In the Third Punic War, Rome faced its ancient rival, Carthage, for the last time. Though Carthage was weakened, some senators argued for mercy, but Cato the Elder ended every speech with the same words: Carthage must be destroyed. Rome took his advice to its ultimate conclusion. They besieged Carthage, burned it for 17 days, slaughtered or enslaved its people, and sowed salt into the soil so nothing would ever grow again. Carthage was wiped off the map, never to return. Rome ruled the Mediterranean, unchallenged. The lesson is brutal. Mercy to a defeated enemy is often mercy to your own future destroyer. A humiliated foe does not forget. They plot, they wait, they gather strength. Leave them a spark and it may become a fire. By crushing them totally, you eliminate the possibility of revenge. This law is not about cruelty for its own sake, it is about survival. If you decide to strike, strike so completely that the enemy has no chance to rise again. Half measures create future wars, total annihilation secures peace. Half measures breed future wars, total destruction ends them. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. During his reign, Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, understood that power withers in isolation. Rather than hiding behind castle walls, he built Versailles, not a fortress, but a dazzling palace where every noble was drawn into his orbit. By keeping his rivals close, he could watch them, influence them, and reduce their independence. The nobles, distracted by luxury and ceremony, became prisoners of his brilliance, powerless to plot against him. Those who wall themselves off, kings, CEOs, or even ordinary men, think they are safe. In truth, isolation weakens you. Cut off from information, you become blind. Cut off from people, you lose influence. And worst of all, those outside your walls plot freely, beyond your sight. Fortresses protect the body, but starve the mind. Louis XIV was never safer than when he stood exposed in a crowded court, because in that crowd, he controlled everyone. A fortress is a prison of your own making. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. In the 20th century, J. Edgar Hoover ruled the FBI for nearly 50 years. His power did not come solely from the law, it came from secrets. Hoover collected private files on politicians, their affairs, their debts, their addictions, their fears. Presidents trembled before him because he knew where to press. A whisper of exposure was enough to bend even the most powerful men to his will. Every person has a weakness, a hidden fear, a secret shame, a fragile desire. To find it is to hold the strings of their soul. The discovery requires patience, careful listening, observation, and subtle probing. Once uncovered, that weakness is your weapon. You do not need to use it immediately. Sometimes the knowledge itself is enough. Like Hoover, you can build an empire on secrets, standing untouchable because everyone fears what you might reveal. The secret they fear is the chain that binds them. Law 34. Act like a king to be treated like one. Catherine the Great came to Russia as a powerless German princess. Surrounded by enemies, she had no claim to the throne, no army, no support. But she carried herself with confidence and authority as if she were born to rule. When the time came, she seized power in a coup, and her demeanor convinced nobles and soldiers alike that she was destined to wear the crown. She reigned for decades as one of history's greatest monarchs. People respond not to reality, but to appearances. If you act timid, you invite disrespect. If you act with dignity, confidence, and command, others will treat you as if you already hold the crown. Power is as much theater as it is strength. This law demands audacity. Step into the role you desire. Even before you possess the throne, carry yourself like its rightful owner. In time, the world will bow to the performance.
Carry yourself like royalty, and the crown will find you.
Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Joseph Stalin ruled through fear, not trust. He understood that a calm society was a dangerous one. In calm, rivals gather strength. So he created paranoia. Sudden arrests in the night, secret trials, fabricated conspiracies. No one knew who would be targeted next. Generals betrayed generals, friends turned on each other, and the air was thick with suspicion. Stalin rarely had to strike directly. His enemies destroyed themselves in the chaos he engineered. This law reveals the usefulness of disorder. When people are calm, they think clearly, they resist. But when they are thrown into turmoil, their judgment fails. They lash out blindly, exposing weaknesses. Stirring the waters creates confusion, and confusion is the hunter's net. You do not always have to attack with force. Sometimes, all you must do is unsettle the ground beneath your enemy's feet. Chaos is your ally, because while others drown in it, you will be the one standing tall. Chaos is the smokescreen of control. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. In 1943, the Allies faced a formidable opponent in North Africa, Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. His brilliance in desert warfare made the German Afrika Korps seem unstoppable. But when Rommel was removed from command after illness and political disputes, his army fell apart. Without their shepherd, the soldiers had no will, no direction. Within months, the once feared Afrika Korps collapsed. The power of a leader far outweighs that of his followers. Strike down the leader, and the group fractures. Remove the brain, and the body dies. Revolts, armies, even corporations can be undone by targeting the figure at their center. Do not waste energy fighting the masses. Aim at the one who holds them together. Once the shepherd falls, the sheep will scatter into chaos, powerless without direction. Remove the leader, and the army dissolves into dust. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. In Renaissance courts, clever courtiers discovered a subtle weapon: imitation. They would mirror the gestures, words, even the attitudes of powerful patrons. The patron, seeing himself reflected, felt flattered, as though truly understood. But rivals and enemies, when mirrored, grew enraged. They saw their flaws thrown back at them, their arrogance exposed, their composure broken. What began as simple reflection became a weapon that disarmed some and infuriated others. The mirror effect is devastating because it turns your opponent's own power against them. When you imitate their moves, they cannot predict your next one because it is already theirs. When you reflect their arrogance, they grow irrational, lashing out and losing balance. Few things are more unsettling than seeing yourself exposed. A mirror does not attack directly. It provokes, mocks, and destabilizes without effort. Hold up the mirror and watch them break. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. Alexander the Great conquered much of the known world by his early 30s. Yet when he pushed into India, his army reached its limit. Exhausted and far from home, his men mutinied, refusing to march further. For the first time, the greatest conqueror in history was forced to retreat. Alexander had aimed too far, and his empire, though vast, fractured soon after his death. Victory is intoxicating. Success whispers that you are unstoppable, that one more step will bring ultimate glory. But the moment of triumph is the most dangerous. Push too far and you risk collapse. The wise know when to stop, when to secure the victory already won instead of chasing the impossible. Power is not just about seizing, it is about restraint. The fall always follows the overreach. The climb is power, the fall is pride.
If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for similar ones, and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.